Hi, you guys. Welcome back. My name is Carrie Penny. I am the Happy Crafty Homemaker, and welcome to Show and Tell number 241. So, boy, howdy, has it been a week since I talked to you guys last. Thursday, we got the internet hooked back up in the middle of the hurricane coming in, and then the hurricane hit. So, we were fine. Everything here in our neighborhood was okay. We have a ton of down trees. But thankfully, there was no cars or houses hit in our neighborhood. We had some brownouts and some blackouts, but we never had sustained power loss in our neighborhood. So we were very, very lucky up here in our little corner. However, that has not been true for the totality of Irmo in South Carolina and Lexington. I know a number of you guys have been checking in with me, seeing how we're doing. We're personally fine. My aunt and my cousins are stranded in Asheville, so we're definitely saying prayers for them as the waters start to recede and food and water are getting brought in by rescue efforts and the Red Cross and everything else. But family in Florida is okay. Family in North Carolina is fine. All the people here in Columbia are fine. But it was much worse than we expected it to be here. We knew we were going to have some severe gusts, but at the time we went to bed Thursday night, they were still projecting our maximum wind gust were going to be 35 miles per hour at gust. However, we had sustained winds of over 45 miles per hour, which is a completely different beast. So we were very unprepared here for what we got. The family in Florida was kind of like, yeah, I mean, we got a storm, but it wasn't that. And it's like, okay, if you say so. But I've got friends and family in Charleston, in Greenville, all over the Carolinas, Charlotte, Asheville, that got hit. And some of them only just got power back in the last 24 hours. Even here in Columbia, a number of people are only just getting power back. And I'm filming this on Tuesday. So they lost power about 2 a.m. on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in the last 24 hours. So 4.5 days of no power. Our power company says that they have, I think, 75% of residents on their grid back up and running. The other 25% are in smaller enclaves, neighborhoods, and sections, some of which are still hard to reach. So definitely say a prayer for those who have been impacted. It has been very rough for a lot of people. We have thankfully been very blessed. We're okay. The biggest disruption is things like trying to get groceries at the grocery store. It's weird because the grocery store closest to us has ice, milk, produce, but they're missing like snack foods and proteins. Whereas like the grocery store on the way to the post office, they have meat, produce, snack foods, but they're out of, all their dairy, most of their frozen foods, things like that. And most of the stores here are still out of ice, but it's been something else. I'm not going to lie. The storm was something else. So yeah, that was that, but we are okay. There's no immediate flooding in our area. We are still watching the river levels as the Erie, Catawba, Reedy, all of that flows through our state in cross patterns through Columbia. There may still be some river flooding here in town, but the dams on the lakes have held so far, and they have done controlled releases on Lake Hartwell and Lake Murray. So we're trying to not just, dump everything straight to Charleston, but the river levels, we're at the same level. I know a number of you guys remember the floods in 2015 that happened here. The river levels are about at the same height, but we don't have the surge waters coming upstream that we had when we had the big flooding events. So I think it's just going to be, once again, unfortunately, some property damage and some roadway damage. I don't think we're looking at, major city flooding, catastrophic flooding here in town right now. but that's as of right now, filming this on Tuesday. So we are hoping the river waters will start to recede today. If you haven't guessed, I am filming at dark 30 on Tuesday. My schedule has totally changed from what I thought it was going to be this week. So, yeah. We will on Saturday have week 2 of my 30 days, use as much yarn as I can. Some impressive usage there. I do have a basket full of goodies here. And at the end, I will talk about the one movie that I wanted to talk about. Little discombobulated. I'm getting so hot. I keep trying to put cute things on and try to bring color because I don't have a super colorful wardrobe most of the time. And I keep trying to wear my shawls when I'm filming, but it's just too hot. It's too hot for me. So, as you'll see on Saturday's video, my Addie died. So to be fair, I have put over 100,000 grams of yarn through my Addie King since I got it in January of 2023. I do use a power screwdriver to crank the machine. I've considered getting the little electronic thing, but I like having a little bit more tactile control, especially as you'll see here where I'm playing with stripes and stuff. So I do prefer to have a little bit more control than what that'll offer me. So I'll probably stick with these screwdrivers. If you were going to do the screwdriver thing though, make sure you're getting number 1, a screwdriver, and number one that has the least amount of torque and slowest spin. Otherwise, you'll strip your gears. If anything gets caught or is too heavy, it'll start skipping and strip your gears. So I do recommend your slowest, low torque, because you want it to catch and stop. You don't want it to power through and break your gears. But I did buy a new Addie. So that got here yesterday, Monday. And I got it set up and everything, ran a couple pieces through it to make sure everything was working fine. So I have run 2 scarves through it and a hat this morning. So it is working. So small favors. This machine is working. I did order a replacement handle and a replacement gold ring for the old Addie machine. So what I'm going to do is, especially if I'm going to keep trying to do like 50 hats and scarves to donate, I'm going to have a second machine available. So I'll repair my old machine while I'm using the new machine. And then when the new machine starts to wear out, I will repair it while I use the old machine. But we had some work slowage. I was able to still do things by hand, and I did a lot of finishing work, as we will see here. Now, the only thing here that is not going to be donated is going to be this set. And while yes, it's adorable, it is made with Plymouth Encore, and Plymouth Encore has a wool content, and the charities that I donate to do not want any wool content in their donations. So I will be keeping this for myself. So I did do a headband, keep it for myself or gift it to somebody. And I did a different alternating stripe pattern. I had the 4 balls. So I did 25 rows, 50 rows, 25 rows, 50 rows, 25 rows, 50 rows, 25 rows, 50 rows, 25 rows. And I had 2 that were speckled and 2 that were solid. So, and I prefer the speckles. So I did make the headband using the speckles. On the headband, I did the first 5 rows in the contrasting color, 45 rows in the dark, 45 rows in the light, and then 5 rows in the contrasting color. That way my knot was the contrasting color. I did do the W closure on this one, where you fold up the edges in the shape of a W and sew them down. So that one will be left here with me to either donate or to gift or keep. Everything else in this bucket, as far as the hats and scarves go, will be for donations. And I had fun with these. I did enjoy making these. I played around a bit. So we have an olive and tan set with a cream and olive scarf. And I just did various size rows. No rhyme, no reason. Just I got tired of using a color, so I switched the color out. All of these scarves are 350 rows. The hats, for the most part, are 150 rows. There are some that are a little bit larger, some that are a little bit smaller. I did do just a plain coral scarf. That was the last thing to go through my old machine before I had to take it off the workbench. I have another sage set here, so it's off-white and sage. And then the scarf, once again, just no rhyme or reason, really, just playing with the colors. We have warm brown, tan, and sage. You don't have to package these back up in their little bundles. I can just do that later when I put everything up in the box. So I do have 2 of these sets using Sugar Wheel from Hobby Lobby. And they're just slightly different just because the collars pulled up differently. I had 4 cakes of this in there. I do still have 4 cakes, 2 colorways in there to use. We're hoping that goes through the new machine like it used to go through the old machine. My new machine does not seem to like, it's not fighting the Premier Basics, but it's not just slipping through. So a little annoyed with that. So we have a black and green. Wow, that just totally contrasted, did weird things on my screen. Green and black. And then I did 2 stripes on this side, 1 stripe on this side. This is Premier Anti-Pilling in Kiwi. Absolutely love that color. And I believe this was part of the next Dreamweaver set I used. Oh, now the old machine gobbled this project up. So this is Lion Brand Heartland. I have a whole bunch of this burgundy color. And when I was restocking my shelves after we moved and getting everything organized, I did not quite have room for these last 3 balls. And I was like, we'll put them in the donation hat bin. I am so glad I did, because I also had this partial of this tan here. And my machine just loved working through this. It just, no tucks, no slips, no nothing, no tugging or pulling or anything else. And then we have just a 6-foot scarf. I might have to make an ear warmer and scarf out of that for myself at some point, once I do my big project with what I bought this for. This one's another really fun one. So this is a Lion Brand, or not Lion Brand. I love this yarn Speckle. This is Impeccable Red Heart Soft. And I love this yarn in purple. And once again, just at random stripes, no real rhyme or reason, no pattern or anything else, intentional pattern for that. And then on the hat, once again, all these are reversible hats this time, except for one. But we have a fully reversible 3-color, regardless of how you turn it, hat to go with that set. And then the last set I finished off, this is a Premier Basics in fuchsia with, I believe, another Premier Basics for the hat. And this one, I did a cowl. I had a lot of very similar colors that were partial skeins. So I started, if you're going to do these, start with your primary color and do a substantial section in your primary color before adding in the secondary color. That way in your seam, you can put that towards the back like that. And you do get this color pulled to the side. But I just did a slip stitch closure on that. But I really love how these turned out. Also, because we had, some errands we had to run and doing some cleanup and repair work here at the house, we had some things we had to go get. I did some hand crocheting. So I love this yarn in Rosy Cheeks. I got 2.5 granny squares here. So these are 10 round granny squares using a size I crochet hook. These will go in my bin once I weave in the ends for my donation blankets. I also did 2 full granny squares in the Impeccable in like Sunny Day, I think was the color name. And I got a corner to corner square. So while my machine was down and while we were running errands, I did get some hand crochet done. Used 2 whole skeins completely for that. So very busy, very busy. It's been a very active week. I got a lot accomplished. So I'm very excited with what I got done. I could have just gotten a little bit more done if my machine hadn't died on me. Because I could use the machine when the power was out. I'm just saying. Of course, my machine would wear out like as I'm doing a 30-day challenge with myself. So, anywho. So on to what we watched this week. So once again, I am rewatching a lot of the original Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. I did want to point out something I did not mention last week is if there is an update on these cases, they were updating their copy of the episodes as late as 2020. So just heads up, if you're especially watching from the Unsolved Mysteries Film Rise YouTube channel, some of those updates are from very, very recently, especially in some of the later episodes. So I think that's really cool that they're still trying to update the stories and update the information available to those who are watching it. But yeah, so I'm enjoying doing that. I got the TV rehooked up to the internet and everything upstairs. So I'm watching that while I'm up here cranking things out. Also, we finally watched Ghost Watch. So Ghost Watch was part of a October miniseries thing that aired on the BBC. And because they used real news anchors, people thought this was a real news broadcast as it was being aired the one time it was aired on the BBC. So they did everything to notify people that this was a work of fiction, that this was part of the October Halloween spooky series that they were airing. I think it was a 7-part series or 6-part series. For the kitsch of it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I can see why in 1992 some people might have thought this was a real news broadcast. Now with all the ghost hunter shows and everything else and the detractors and the pro people and the argument about whether or not these shows are actually showing true hauntings or real evidence or anything else. The modern lens is very different than 1992's lens and something like that airing. I do think it's funny that the BBC still has not re-aired this because it was such a bad experience with the first time it aired. But I was able to pull it off of one of the free, we had to watch it with commercials, but on one of the free, like freebie app kind of things. But yeah, I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I don't think we watched any other movies. Or did we? I'll double check my list and make sure I write it down for next week. With everything that happened this week, I didn't write everything down. So, but yeah, that's where we are this week. That's what happened last week, and where this week is headed. It'll be an adventure. We'll play it by ear. So anyway, I love you guys. Stay tuned for the kitten pictures here at the end. Come back on Saturday to hear a little bit more about what went on over the course of the second week of my 30-day project to use as much yarn as I possibly can. So I love you guys. I will see y'all real soon. Bye.